Napier is a very quiet town, some lovely architecture, sleepy seaside ambience. It's not the kind of place you expect to see processions out on the street. Well, there were no processions out on the street. There was just a procession in the middle of McLean Park. And it was a procession that was led by the New Zealand batsman. 146 for 3 at one stage, losing 7 wickets for 14 runs and 6 wickets for 9 runs, which was absolutely insane from the way it was looking like they were going to 175, 180, even beyond when Glenn Phillips was going. Here on Cricbuzz Live, to try and make a little sense of that New Zealand collapse, I'm joined by Parthiv Patel and Dinesh Karthik. I think no matter what kind of scores people try and predict, and today we did predictions at the 10 over mark. We had all the foresight of seeing how it went for 10 overs, and yet we all went completely wrong.
I find this the toughest part, to guess what somebody is going to score, because there are a lot of variables. Like we saw today, they were poised. I thought at 15 over mark they reached with 2 wickets in hand. They can obviously in many ways push from there, but some terrific bowling by the Indian batters and the Indian bowlers, and it was just great to see. It was backed up by some good fielding, and they made it really hard for the New Zealand batters in the middle. I think new batters coming in, it wasn't that easy. 2 set batters were key, but they couldn't push on, and you could see the way they crumbled from about 146, like you said, 14 wickets, 14 runs for 7 wickets. Doesn't happen too often, but it's also a testament to some good captaincy by Hardik, trying to hold on to the fast bowlers a lot more. And we said that fast bowlers are going to be critical for Team India to do well in this game, and rightly so. I think they put up a show for all of us to watch.
Yeah, I mentioned 10. It was actually 3 runs for 6 wickets, 146 for 3 to 149 for 9 until a couple of hits at the end from number 11 and Tim Southee. It was an off day for Chahal of sorts. When you thought that he might have been the weapon, he did well in the first game, but the way Siraj really got the key wickets at the right time. Arshdeep cleaned it up at the end, but Siraj was the key.
I think it was, as we spoken about the dimension of the ground, I think it's always going to be difficult for a spinner to, flight or try and get those wickets. But, traditionally also this wicket actually helps those fast bowler. And today what I really liked about Arshdeep was we saw 4 wickets with the 4 different kind of deliveries. He got an LBW that was swinging, and then he got Conway out with a knuckle ball, which we had not seen him bowling so far till the World Cup. Now we've seen something else of knuckle ball. Then he got a wicket of Yorker, and then he got a wicket of a bouncer. So he's got everything, whichever ball you wanted to bowl at right point of time. And I thought Siraj was brilliant with his bowling. He obviously knows that his strength is to hit the wicket, hit the seam, and that's exactly what he was doing. Sometimes, when slog over starts, as bowlers, you maybe try and get carried away with bowling those Yorkers and bouncers, but Siraj kept hitting those length balls, the difficult balls to hit, and that's the reason why you can see those figures on your screen. He's got 4 wickets, a career best 4 wickets and an economy of just 4.25. So I think well done to Indian bowlers, the way they executed their plans.
And if you throw in that run out, I know we don't credit that to a bowler's analysis in the sense, but that direct hit of the run out effectively would give him a 5 for. And remember, he came in at a stage when New Zealand were on the ascendancy. They'd just taken Arshdeep for 19 runs, started in the last over of the power play, and didn't bowl at the easiest times.
I was just going to say, what makes this bowling analysis really special is the fact that he bowled tough overs. You can ask anybody, in the power play, the last 2 overs are the critical overs, like when you go for a lot of runs. He came in, got a wicket that over, didn't give many runs. Then when he came back, he bowled one through the middle when Glenn Phillips was going, didn't give many. The critical part, when they were just 2 wickets down at the 15 over mark, again he came back and bowled a terrific over to Devon Conway, got literally 3 beatons on the go, and created a problem for him. So he bowled some tough overs, but still it didn't end up going for runs. It is exactly like what Parthiv said. Whatever Arshdeep did, he did the exact opposite. He kept it very simple. He just backed his length balls, and he wanted to hit the wicket hard to allow the seam to do whatever it was required to do on that wicket, and bowled a terrific spell. I think there's a spell to remember for him. I think he'll draw a lot of confidence from. I think he was short of confidence at in the month of June, soon after IPL, but I think he's grown in stature. He's done really well in the home series against South Africa, and it's so good to see him do well again in New Zealand.
Yeah, we mentioned the 6th over, that was the last over of power play. Came back for a 1 over spell in the 12th over, and that's when Phillips and Conway were batting. They were in the middle of the partnership. And then his wickets came after that in over numbers 16 and 18, which again means he's bowled at 4 different stages of the innings.
Yeah, that's the only way to stop a run rate. Whenever this modern day batsman with a smaller ground, there is the only way you can stop these batters is by getting them out. What I really liked about Siraj's attitude today was he was aggressive, he was brave. That's something which you always have to do. Sometimes in slog overs, you might think that I'll have to bowl Yorkers or I'll have to bowl Yorkers which is outside the off stump, and then you tend to get away from your strength. So Siraj's strength is to bowl those length, to make sure that he keeps hitting those length, right? So sticking to your strength is something which was key for Siraj today. I think that is the reason why he got those results, and to get those set batsmen out, which is the most important thing, because Glenn Phillips was not hitting, he was hitting sixes for fun. He was hitting sixes out of the park. So that's when I think India was very good today with their approach. They were aggressive and they were brave.
I think a key word there that PP used is aggressive. And what that means is, even though he got 3 balls to go away from Devon Conway, when Glenn Phillips came back on strike, he bowled that bumper. He trusted himself to bowl that sharp bouncer. In his younger days, he was known for his bouncer. It was really sharp. That was actually what kept him in good stead. And what you call a team man, even though he had 4 wickets, he could have easily gone for a 5th wicket by bowling a Yorker, but he wanted to close out the over well. So the 18th over last ball, which was his last opportunity to take a 5-4, he still went for the bouncer and looked for the dot ball. So, you got to give credit to the small things, and you can see he's a really good team man to have, and that is something that augurs well for Team India in the future.
But here on Cricbuzz Live, we've given him a 5-4 with that direct throw and the run out. I mean, that's again, it's a bonus. In the scheme of things, it may not be a game changer, but still you could see that once they were down on the mat, you were not letting even those boundaries come at the end and throw in the Harshal Patel, typical Harshal Patel wicket at the end, not allowing even, I mean, Tim Southee can hit a few for 6. You bowl him something short, suddenly 160 becomes 172, it looks different.
Yeah, I think 1 over can make a difference in T20 cricket. We've seen that. You have to finish off well. You have to make sure that that momentum doesn't shift to other team, because in last over you are anyways going to try and hit few boundaries. But Harshal Patel was also on the mark. He bowled a wonderful Yorker. That's its strength. His strength is to make sure that he bowls those slower ones, he bowls those bouncers, he mixes it up, and that's exactly what he did today. If you look at this bowling lineup, everyone stuck to what they can do the best, and that's something which is so important to if you want to execute your plans, in especially under pressure in death overs, and everyone was there. You can see that Yuzvendra Chahal has gone for runs, but that can happen on this smaller ground, so I'm not reading too much into it. But I thought India's comeback was brilliant, and when someone like Conway and Glenn Phillips were going all guns blazing, India was still thinking of getting them out, and that's exactly what India needs to do when you are going in future. So as we're talking about 86 of 63, it was kind of a bit of a rebuilding, but India came back strong and got both the set batsmen out at the right point of time.
Yeah, 44 for 2 to 130 for 3. That's when they laid the platform with stroke makers still to come. The likes of Jimmy Neesham were still in the hut to come to take them to the 180 type total, which they were well on target for. I mean, even if they had just punted it around for a while, they would have got that kind of score. But that last phase, 31 for 8, that is something that India totally put the brakes on. And Hardik had the luxury with that one quick over that he slipped in of Deepak Hooda, took a Chahal over away. Normally, if there was no Deepak Hooda on the side, he would have been forced to bowl himself.
Yes, I think in this case, obviously, I think he's not fully fit when it comes to bowling. That's why he's not bowling. But sometimes in the bigger picture, we tend to forget the small things. A lot of credit must be given to Lakshman and Hardik Pandya for realizing that playing Washington could be a handicap in a way, because, the spinners got hit. To have the over, the kind of front side to see that, that might not be a good option. Going for Harshal Patel, backing him and him delivering so well. And it is really good, because Harshal is playing after a long time. For him to come and bowl those good overs in the middle and then finish it off with the last wicket that he got. But what is more important is, Hardik's and Lakshman's, in many ways, be able to look ahead and tactically be very astute about it and going for the right option. If Harshal wasn't there, we could have seen a bigger score in play. But because Harshal was there bowling through the middle, I think he put the brakes in a way. And then, like you said, cleverly using Hooda in the 7th over. Generally, the 7th over is, stats do say that it is an over which goes for the least amount of runs, and using him cleverly there and realizing that it could be tough for him after that. And, Chahal, as we see, some experienced spinners still going for runs. So it wasn't a game for the spinners, so to say. So it was really good on him to make use of the 16 overs of fast bowlers and give them all an opportunity. And what's very interesting is all the fast bowlers bowled a lot of dot balls, which says that there's a lot in the wicket for fast bowlers. So, they're making use of the conditions. Yes, they went for a bit of tap, Arshdeep and Bhuvi to an extent, but I think Siraj bowled brilliantly and also very well led by Hardik Pandya.
49 to be exact was the number of dot balls that the pace bowlers shared between them, and that's quite an achievement. But the flip side, once again, we like to look at it when you normally have a collapse of 6 wickets for 3 runs and 7 wickets for 14 runs. You're thinking a side has been rolled over for 120, 125. That generally is the norm. But thanks to that partnership between Conway and Phillips, it still means that they have some sort of respectable total on the board. At the start of the innings, if you hadn't had that collapse and you hadn't had such a big partnership, 160 is kind of a total that you would be okay to settle for.
Not on this ground. I mean,
no, okay, fair enough. Not on this ground, but at least they have something to defend.
At least their bowlers have something to bowl to. 160 is it's still 8 over. You would want a couple of wickets early. Early means really early in first 2 overs, and make sure that you have a very good power play. Otherwise, 160 on this ground with 2 spinners playing, and they don't have too many fast bowlers in terms of, say, Jimmy Neesham or Darren Mitchell is your medium pacers. They are not the quick bowlers which we so to say. So I think New Zealand would be disappointed for sure with 160, but you got to give credit the way Devin Conway and Glenn Phillips batted as well. They were trying a bit of a rebuilding phase, and that's the template that New Zealand's been playing. Either Devin Conway or Kane Williamson tries to play through the innings, and then likes of Finn Allen or Glenn Phillips goes out there and plays an attacking inning, and that's exactly what they did. But yeah, I don't think 160 is enough.
Well, your least favorite part of the show, prediction time. I know we didn't quite get it right in terms of where we were. They should have really been between 171 and 180, which is the kind of range we were looking at. New Zealand falling well short of that. 160, the kind of total that they've put up. Now, India will look at it and say, okay, we need to be something decent at the end of 6 overs. How decent?
I think if they're about anywhere between 45 and 50, I think it's a very good score for them to be in, and that's very plausible because we saw, even though Devin Conway took time, the moment he got a couple of boundaries, the run rate kind of just sped up. So I would say anything above 48 is a good score.
All right, we take the average of 45 and 50 and give 48 to Dinesh Karthik. Are you going higher than that?
Yes, I'm going 55. I think India is going to come out all guns blazing. So 55 to 60.
55 to 60. So we'll give you 58 then.
58, yeah.
48 to 58. I'll just squeeze in. I'll take the luxury of squeezing in somewhere in between, big gap between bat and pad, and why not take it? 52. I'll just squeeze in at 52. 48, 52, 58. All we know is India will come hard. Ishan Kishan, Rishabh Pant out there, lots more stroke makers to come, the freak show to come after that. I know we keep saying that, but it's never meant in a derogatory way. I'm sure Sky would take it every day of the week. But plenty more batting, and 161 the target for Team India. 10th over on Cricbuzz Combox, we'll see just how far they've progressed in their quest for 161.